QK is telling me to get back to making more videos. Slave driver. Iman, hi, how's it going? All right, guys. Let's do a recap of what happened last week, okay? So last week, let's see. We find out that last week Lin Pingzhi, he joins the Huashan school. Okay, yay! He joins the Huashan school. He was accepted by Yue Buchun. Yue Buchun is the master of the Huashan school, and his moniker is he's the gentleman's sword, which means I guess he's very civilized, and yeah, people think that he's a good person. So he accepts Lin Pingzhi into the Huashan school, which is, remember, it's a school of Lin Hu Chong also. So yay, they're all in one big family now. Let's see. So most of last chapter was just Yilin spending a bunch of time with Ling Hu Chong. They just hang out together. We find out a little bit more about Ling Hu Chong. He was an orphan, and he was taken in by Yue Buchun into the Huashan school. Okay, and he was raised by Yue Buchun and his wife. So Ling Hu Chong feels very grateful towards them, and he loves them a lot. Okay, he feels like they're his adoptive parents, even though they're not. But that's how he feels. And then another big thing was that last week was that Yilin is starting to get some feelings for Ling Hu Chong. Okay, and she's very, very thirsty. It seems she's very thirsty. Her throat is parched. Her throat is like the Sahara Desert, and her crotch is like the Amazon rainforest. So I don't know what she's doing being a nun, but maybe she stops being a nun at some time, but we'll see. Nikki wants more 90s gangster rap? Dun, dun. Hey, Eamon. Hey, Malaysia. Cheers from US. Nikki says Yilin needs to change careers. All right, let's get ready. Chapter 6. Losh says, every time Yilin says Big Brother Ling Hu, we take a shot. No, yeah, we'd probably be dead. I do have it ready, though. Look at that. Yeah. Hey, Rat Rider. We have Rat Rider in the chat. What's up? Are you ready? Chapter 6, Hand Washing. Remember, the hand washing ceremony is the ceremony of Liu Chengfeng, and he's going to leave the martial arts world. Okay. After Yue Buchun took Lin Pingzhi as his new apprentice, the Huashan group, led by Yue Buchun, arrived at the Liu house. When Liu Chengfeng heard the news from his servants, he was overwhelmed by both surprise and joy. Even the world-renowned gentleman sword in the martial world, headmaster of the Huashan sword school, came himself. Wasting no time, he rushed to the door to greet, expressing his gratitude again and again. Yue Buchun appeared to be very polite and modest. After congratulating Liu Chengfeng with a big smile, he entered the gate, with Liu Chengfeng abreast. Priest Tan Men, Sister Ding Yi, Yu Changhai, Mr. Wen, and He San-chi all greeted at the door of the hall. So these are all the big dogs, all at this guy's house. Yu Changhai had his own interpretation. He thought to himself, Liu Changfeng certainly does not have the kind of fame that will get the headmaster of Huaxiang Sword School to come himself. Yue Buchun must have come from me. Oh wait, this is... Oh, I gotta do his voice. He has a little high... I gave him a little high voice. The Five Mountain Sword Alliance does outnumber me here, but my Qincheng Sword School is not easy to be trifled with either. If Yue Buchun starts to criticize me, I'll cut him off and question him about Ling Hu Chong sleeping with prostitutes. When it comes down to blows, we'll just have to fight it out. But when Yue Buchun saw him, Yue just bowed down like how he did to all the others and greeted. Master Yu, long time no see. You are even in better shape now. Mr. Yue, how are you? Yu Canghai bowed back. After the masters exchanged some short chats, more guests showed up at the gate. This was the day set for Liu Changfeng's gold basin hand-washing ceremony. At 1 hour before noon, Liu Changfeng went back to the inner rooms to prepare himself for the ceremony, while his apprentices took over the tasks of catering to the guests. Is Q a ch sound? Yeah, I think so. So Qingcheng Sword School is the Q sound. Titus Manalus, what's up? You were doing a 22-hour drive. Where were you driving? Who were you running away from? Close to noon, over 500 more guests from distant locations flooded in. Among the guests, there was Vice Chief of the Beggars Clan, oh no, a lot of names. Cheng Qing Nao, Master Xia of Zhengzhou Six Harmony Style Studio, together with his 3 sons-in-law, Granny Tai from the Holy Maiden Peak of the Three Gorges, Chief of the Sea Sand Clan from the East Sea, Peng Roar, the Duel of the River Chu, Magic Blade, Baiku, and Magic Brush, Lu Si Shi. Some of them had known each other before, and some had only heard about each other's names, never having the chance to meet. The big hall soon was filled with greetings and chats, almost sounding like a big marketplace. So he's telling us that this is a big ceremony, and a lot of the really powerful people are coming to attend this guy's hand-washing ceremony. Wait, Titus, you're running from the cops. Well, good luck, pal. I hope they don't get you. Amanda says, I bet something big is going to happen during the hand-washing ceremony. Oh, maybe. It's gotta be, right? I don't know. Maybe nothing happens and he just washes his hands and he goes away. Priest Tianmen and Sister Dingyi. So Priest Tianmen is the leader of the Hangshan school. Sister Dingyi is also Hangshan, but it's a different Hangshan. Yeah, remember there are 2 schools with the same name, which is very confusing. Stayed inside their rooms to rest, not bothering going out to greet the crowd. They both thought, among the guests here today, some have good reputations in the martial world, but some others are obviously people with doubtful characters. Liu Changfeng is a master of the Hangshan Sword School. Oh wait, sorry. Priest Tianmen is the master of Taishan Sword School, and Sister Dingyi is the master of... No, is one of the higher-ups. She's not the master. I totally screwed up. Priest Tianmen is the master of Taishan Sword School, and Sister Dingyi is one of the higher-ups in the Hangshan Sword School, the school of nuns. Liu Changfeng is a master of the Hangshan Sword School. Why doesn't he conduct himself with dignity? Instead, associating himself with all kinds of people indiscriminately, wouldn't that lower the reputation of our Five Mountains Sword Alliance? Yue Buchun, on the other hand, was very fond of making friends. Even when many nobodies, or even people with not so good reputations, came by to chat with him, he always chatted and joked with them without any arrogant posture as the headmaster of the Huashan Sword School, a famous one in the martial world. Yep, Losh corrected me. He's from the Taishan school. Meanwhile, directed by apprentices of the Liu house, the servants had set up over 200 banquet tables inside and outside the big hall. Liu Changfeng's relatives, subordinates, bookkeepers, and apprentices, including Qiang Daniang and Mi Wei Yi, started seating the guests. Based on the fame and seniority in the martial world, Priest Tianmen, the headmaster of the Taishan Sword School, would be seated at the head of the table. But since the 5 sword schools were all part of the Sword Alliance, Priest Tianmen, Yue Buchun, and Sister Ding Yi were all half hosts as well, so it wouldn't be appropriate for them to be seated in the seats of honor. Other senior masters all yielded to each other. No one wanted to sit at the head of the table. Oh, Arawa, you have jasmine tea. Good job. Suddenly, 2 shots of blunderbuss came from outside the gate. Then strains of music accompanied by drum beats followed, together with sounds of gongs clearing the way. Apparently, some kind of a government official had just arrived at the gate. While the guests were still in surprise, Liu Changfeng rushed out in his brand new silk robe from the inner room. All the guests started congratulating and cheering for him, but Liu Changfeng only put out a brief salute and walked straight out. A few moments later, he walked back in accompanying a government official in government uniform, respectfully. All the guests were stunned. Is that official a first-class master in the martial world? Although his uniform looked very impressive, his sleepy eyes and unhealthy complexion all indicated that he did not have any martial arts skills. Yue Buchun and the bunch all thought, Liu Zhengfeng is a very wealthy man in the town of Hangshang. Of course, he would be making friends with the local government officials. Since today is the day of great rejoicing for Liu Zhengfeng, it would be no surprise for a local official to come by and congratulate out of perfunctory. The official walked straight into the hall and stopped in the middle. A subordinate of his knelt down on his right leg and raised the tray in his hands high above his head. The tray was covered by a piece of yellow satin with a scroll in the middle. The official bent slightly to pick up the scroll and shouted loudly, "The imperial decree is here! Liu Changfeng, greet the imperial decree." All the guests were astonished. So an imperial decree is from the emperor. So these are words from the capital. Liu Changfeng's hand washing and giving up his sword were purely events only related to the martial world. What has that got to do with the imperial government? Why did the emperor send an imperial decree? Could Liu Changfeng have plotted against the imperial government and was found guilty? That would be a crime punishable by beheading everyone in the whole family. Soon everyone had reached the same conclusion and stood up. Some impatient ones had already grabbed their weapons. Everyone thought that since this official was announcing the imperial decree, then soldiers must have surrounded Liu House in all directions, and a big fight had become inevitable. As friends of Liu Changfeng, no one would be standing by unconcerned. In addition, when a nest got demolished, no eggs would escape unbroken. By coming to the event at Liu House, one had already become accessories of the rebels. It was already too late to stay aloof from the affair anyway. Everyone waited for Liu Changfeng's signal. As soon as he started yelling, all the blades in the big hall would chop the official into 10,000 pieces in no time. But Liu Changfeng appeared to be very calm and relaxed. He knelt down in front of the official, and after 3 kowtows, he said loudly, "Liu Changfeng greets the imperial decree, thanks to his great majesty." All guests were stunned. Hey, Streety McMeaty, how's it going? I love your name, by the way. The official opened the scroll and started reading. His Majesty said, according to the report from Governor of Hunan Province, civilian Liu Changfeng of Hangshan County, who is zealous for the common weal and possesses good skills in horse riding and archery, is worth of government's services. Now you will be promoted to the rank of a sergeant. From now on, you will render your service to the imperial court with no reservation to repay the Majesty's kindness, His Majesty. Liu Changfeng thanks for His Majesty's great kindness. Thanks to His Great Majesty, Liu Changfeng answered while kowtowing several more times. He stood up and then bowed to the official. Many thanks for the patronization from Your Excellency, Zhang, Liu Changfeng exclaimed. Congratulations, Sergeant Liu. We are both serving for His Majesty now. You are being too modest. The official stroked his goatee with a smile. I am just a reckless man of the bush, Liu Changfeng said. Today I am being promoted by the imperial court. Of course, that attributes to the great kindness of His Majesty, bringing honors to all my ancestors. But that also attributes to the outreaching patronization of the Governor's Excellency and Your Excellency, Zhang. Not really, the official said with a smile. Brother Feng, where are the gifts for His Great Excellency, Zhang? Liu Changfeng turned to Feng Jianzhu. They're all here. Feng Jianzhu turned around and took out a round tray. A brocade-wrapped package lay in the middle of the tray. Liu Changfeng took the tray with both of his hands. Here are some small gifts, just to show a small portion of our respect. Please accept them, Your Excellency, he said with a big smile. Oh, we are all brothers. There's really no need for gifts. The Zhang-named official grinned while tipping his subordinates a wink. The subordinate by his side immediately stepped forward and took the tray. As soon as the tray was handed over, his arms lowered. Obviously, the package in the tray was something heavy. It had to be gold, not silver. Beaming with joy, the Zhang-named official excused himself. Brother, I will have government duties to take care of. I really shouldn't stay any longer. Come, let's fill 3 cups of wine and congratulate Sergeant Liu's promotion today. Wish him more promotions in the near future and enjoy His Majesty's kindness once more. The servants had already prepared the wine. The Zhang-named official drank all 3 cups of wine swiftly and then cupped his palms for a salute and walked out of the gate. Liu Changfeng walked him all the way out with heaps of smiles on his face. Gong sounds rose again and shots of blunderbuss were set off by Liu House again to see the official off. So it looks like Liu Changfeng got promoted to sergeant, I guess. So apparently that's a big position. So is it did he leave the martial world just to become a government official? I think that's what everyone else thinks. This scene was really not expected by any of the guests. They all just stared at each other, not knowing what to say. Everyone's face was covered by embarrassment and surprise. Although the guests that came to Liu House were neither from the dark side of the martial world nor rebellious, they all had some fame in the martial world and considered themselves the type with exceptional abilities that would look down upon local governments. When they saw how Liu Changfeng curried favor with the powerful and acted so nauseatingly just for the promotion to sergeant, such a low rank from the emperor, it's a low rank, and even bribed the official in public, some couldn't help showing disgust on their faces. Some elder guests all thought, he probably bought his promotion. How much gold and silver would he have to spend to get the recommendation from the governor? Liu Changfeng was a man of integrity. Why would he let covetousness overcome him and buy a title so unscrupulously? Liu Changfeng walked back to his guests with a big smile and invited everyone to be seated. Since no one wanted to sit at the head of the table, the armchair in the middle was left empty. Seated at the head seat by the left was Master Jia. Wuxia of Six Harmony Style Studio. He's a he's a rapper. He owns the Six Harmony Style Studio. The oldest one among the group, and seated at the head seat by the right, was the vice chief of the Beggars Clan, Zhang Jinao. Zhang Jinao himself did not have any outstanding fame, but since the Beggars Clan is the largest clan in the martial world, and the chief of the Beggars Clan, Jia Feng, had outstanding martial arts skills and fame, so everyone showed their respect. After everyone was seated, servants brought out various dishes and wines. Mi Weiyi took out a tea table covered by brocade. Jiang Danyang held a shining gold basin in his arms. The basin was already filled with water. 3 shots of blunderbuss came from outside, followed by 8 loud bangs from firecrackers. All the junior apprentices at the back hall and the flower hall all rushed into the big hall to see the fun. Liu Jiangfeng stepped into the middle of the hall with a bright smile and bowed to all directions with his palms cupped. All the guests stood up to salute him back. Nikki says, oh, it's covetousness. Thank you. English is my second language. Covetousness. Yeah, the Beggars Clan is actually actual beggars. I think they were originally all beggars in the Beggars Clan, but recently there was a contingent of people who are in the Beggars Clan, but they're actually like rich people. So I don't know about the timeline, but in like other stories of his in the same universe, yeah, that's what happened. And there's like a sometimes there are clashes between both sides of the Beggars Clan. It's pretty interesting. It's laggy. Uh-oh. Is it laggy for anyone else? Your phone call is making the video lag. I'm not doing any phone calls. Hey, I upgraded my internet, man. Why is it lagging? This is not cool. Okay, we'll move on. Let's move on. All the senior heroes, good friends, and young friends, Liu Qiangfang said in a loud voice. Thank you for coming such a long way. You really have given Liu Jiangfeng great due respect. I truly appreciate that. After today's gold basin hand washing, I will no longer be involved in the martial world. You probably have all seen the reason why. Thanks to the great kindness of the imperial court, I have been awarded a small government post. As the saying goes, on His Majesty's payroll, then show His Majesty your loyalty. In the martial world, people do things following the code of brotherhood. But to fulfill government duties, one has to follow the laws and regulations of the government to show loyalty to His Majesty. When there is a conflict between the two, it would put me in a very awkward position. Starting from now on, Liu Changfeng will be quitting the martial world. If my apprentices want to submit themselves to other schools or clans, it's totally up to their own decisions. I invited all you friends here to be my eyewitnesses. Later, when you come to the town of Hangshan again, you are still good friends of mine. But regarding the various kinds of disputes and clash in the martial world, I will have to excuse myself. He bowed again after the words. Okay, so he did leave. He did leave to become a government official. So it is lagging? What? Or it's not lagging anymore? It seems like it's not lagging anymore. All the guests had expected those words out of him. He really wanted to be a government official. That's his own will, and no one can force him to give that up. He has never offended me. I guess I'll just pretend that there's no more Liu Sir in the martial world, they all thought. Such a behavior would really hurt Hangshang Sword School's fame. No wonder the headmaster of the Hangshang Sword School, great Mr. Mo, did not show up. He must be quite mad about it. Some also thought. Okay, so the master of the Hangshang School did not show up. There might be some drama. The Five Mountains Sword Alliance has done many chivalrous acts recently and is well respected by everyone. Now, with such a behavior from Liu Chengfeng, people probably won't say anything up front, but behind the scenes, they might be all kinds of comments. Some others thought. There were also some people who took pleasure out of the scene, thinking, and the people of the Five Mountains Sword Alliance still call themselves a chivalrous group. As soon as he has the chance to gain promotion and get rich, he kowtows to an official in such a begging manner. How could that be called chivalrous? Okay, no more lag. That's good. These thoughts boggled each of the guests' minds. In the meantime, silence swept the entire big hall. Under such circumstance, everyone should have already congratulated Liu Chengfeng and complimented him with something like retire with happiness and a long life, great courage and great wisdom. But with over 1,000 guests around, none said a word. Liu Chengfeng turned to face the outside and said loudly, "Thanks for the respectful master's kindness. I, Liu Chengfeng, was taken as an apprentice of the Hangshang Sword School and was taught martial arts skills. I am very ashamed that I could not expand the fame of the Hangshang Sword School. Luckily, our school still has apprentice brother Mo to manage things. Liu Chengfeng is just mediocre in the school. The school wouldn't miss anything without me. Starting from now on, after I wash my hands in the gold basin, I will be focusing on my governmental career. I will never use the martial arts skills I learned from my master to work toward my promotion. Regarding disputes and clashes in the martial world, or arguments between schools and clans, Liu Chengfeng will never be involved again. If I ever break my promise, I will end up like this sword." He turned his right palm over and drew a long sword from under his robe. Bending the sword slightly with his hands, crack! He had broken the blade into 2 pieces. He simply let the 2 broken parts fall to the floor, and the broken blades pinned to the green brick on the floor without any noise. Seeing the scene, everyone was well shaken. The broken blade had penetrated the brick so quietly. Apparently, the sword had an extraordinarily sharp blade. For someone like Liu Chengfeng to break a normal steel sword with one's hands was nothing extraordinary, but to break such an outstanding sword so effortlessly, the strength required from one's fingers could only come from someone who had the skills of an elite fighter in the martial world. What a pity, Mr. Wen gave out a deep sigh. No one was clear if he was feeling sorry because of the loss of such an outstanding sword, or because such a great master as Liu Chengfeng would willingly barter away his honor for the government's patronage. So it looks like everyone hates the government. And they're like, why is this guy joining the government? Oh, Nikki says something's weird about Liu Chengfeng becoming a government man. Is there some intrigue going on? With a bright smile on his face, Liu Chengfeng rolled up his sleeves and got ready to put his hands into the golden basin, when suddenly someone shouted sharply outside, "Stop!" Alright, let's take a break. 3-minute break, guys. I'll be right back. Oh, no one is requesting a song? I'll just play my own song. Hey guys, I'm back. What? Nikki asks, what kind of songs can't we request? You can request anything. Actually, if it's like a well-known song, I don't know if we get. I might get a copyright strike. I'm not sure. Bad Romance. Is there a remix of Bad Romance? Maybe we can play that. Because if you don't know, I upload these after the stream, then I cut out the music. All right. So maybe I won't get a strike. So usually after a stream, I'll get a copyright, like a content ID warning. So it's like, hey, you can't use these songs. So I just cut them out, and then we're okay. But I don't know. Sometimes you just get a copyright strike, and that's a different thing. And you can get only 3 strikes within a certain amount of time, and then they'll just like delete your channel. Oh, Titus, you're doing jujitsu, and wrestling tomorrow. That's awesome, dude. Hey, I used to do taekwondo. I was a taekwondo instructor, and yeah, man, I haven't done it for a while, but jujitsu is something else. It's awesome. Hope says, I found Linfamy doing some dirty, naughty things on Google last night. No, I didn't. What? What do you mean? So apparently if you Google my name, or at least Hope Googled my name and like some weird stuff came up, I didn't do anything. Hey. Okay. Okay, it looks like Bad Romance. All right, if you want to do that. Okay, so what happened? What just happened? Liu Zhengfeng, we're at Liu Zhengfeng's hand washing ceremony, and he was about to do it, and then a government official comes in, and at first everyone thought, okay, it's bad news, and they're gonna kill everyone. So everyone was ready to defend Liu Zhengfeng, right, to the death. But then what happened was Liu Zhengfeng was offered a government position. So this was the government coming over and saying, hey, you got promoted to this rank, and congratulations. Okay. And then afterwards, everyone just turned on him. Everyone's like, oh, this guy just wants money, so stuff like that. And then he starts to do the hand washing again, and then someone shouts, stop, from outside. And that's where we stopped. That was his twin brother, Linfamy. My twin brother is doing naughty things on the internet. Damn it, that guy. Someone stop that guy. All right. So someone shouts out from outside, stop. Slightly surprised, Liu Zhengfeng looked up and saw 4 men in yellow robes walking through the gate. After entering the gate, the 4 split into groups of 2 and stood still on each side of the path. Then a tall man, also in a yellow robe, walked straight in with his head held high and a silk flag in 5 colors raised high in his hand. The flag was studded with pearls and diamonds, so when the flag flapped, magnificent twinkles flashed. While in shock, many guests recognized the silk flag. It's the 5 Mountains Sword Alliance Chief's command flag. The man walked until he was right in front of Liu Zhengfeng, and then raised the flag high in the air. Uncle Master Liu, here's 5 Mountains Sword Alliance Chief Zhuo's order. Please temporarily postpone the ceremony of Uncle Master Liu's gold basin hand washing, he announced. Liu Zhengfeng bowed to the flag. May I ask why Alliance Chief would give such an order? He asked. I am just following my orders. I really don't know the reason behind the Alliance Chief's decision. Will you, Uncle Master Liu, please pardon me? The man answered. You are being too modest, nephew apprentice. You must be 10,000 feet pine nephew Shi, am I right? He asked. Although he had a smile on his face, his voice had already slightly trembled. Obviously, even as one who had experienced many confrontations, he was greatly shocked because of the sudden change. The man was none other than the apprentice of the Songshang sword school, 10,000 feet pine, Shi Dengda. Realizing that Liu Zhengfeng knew about his name and nickname, he was immensely proud. Apprentice Shi Dengda here shows his respect to Uncle Master Liu, he said, bowing slightly. So remember, Uncle Master is the title you give to, is what you call people who are at your master's level. So his peers, so the peers of your master, right? So it's like a level above you. Taking a few steps forward, he also saluted Priest Tianmen, Yue Buchun, Sister Ding Yu, and the bunch. Apprentice of Shangshang Sword School here shows his respect to Uncle Masters. The other four men in yellow also bowed to salute. Sister Ding Yu was quite pleased. It's great that your master decided to step in and stop this ceremony, she said, while slightly bowing back. All we martial people care about is the virtue of chivalry. I think one should just enjoy the martial world leisurely and carefree. Why bother becoming a government official? But I knew Brother Liu had everything arranged already and would never have listened to the old nun, me, so I simply decided to save my breath. Liu Xiangfang said with a solemn face, in the old days when our 5 sword schools formed the alliance, we agreed to help each other when attacking or attacked upon, to uphold justice in the martial world as a whole. When there are matters related to the 5 schools, we should all follow the alliance chief's command. Our 5 schools made this 5-colored command flag together. It is true that when seeing the command flag, it's like seeing the alliance chief himself, but today's gold basin hand-washing ceremony is only my private matter. It is neither against any martial rules nor related to the 5 Mountains Sword Alliance, so I am not restricted by the Alliance Chief's command flag. Nephew Shi, please tell your respectful master that I will not follow the order and ask for his pardon. He walked toward the gold basin. Shi Dengda rushed forward and blocked in front of the gold basin. Uncle Master Liu, my master urged me again and again to ask Uncle Master Yu to temporarily postpone your gold basin hand-washing ceremony. Master said that the 5 Mountain Sword Alliance had the same roots with different branches. We members are like brothers to each other. By sending out this command flag with the order, he was not only taking the inter-school relationship into consideration, but also to uphold the justice in the martial world, and also for the good of Uncle Master Liu, he exclaimed while raising the silk flag even higher in the air. So Songshang, so the master of the Songshang school, is the chief of the whole alliance, right? And he's ordering this guy to not wash his hands. I'm a bit confused here, Liu Qiangfang said. The invitation for my gold basin hand-washing ceremony was sent to Mount Songshan with great manners, way ahead of time. A long letter was also sent together to apprentice brother Zhuo, explaining everything in detail. If apprentice brother Zhuo really had such good intentions, why didn't he stop me earlier and waited till now to stop me with the command flag? Obviously, he wants me to go back on my words in front of all the heroes in the martial world, so I would be laughed at by every martial person. Master said that Uncle Master Liu is a man of iron will in the Hangshang Sword School, with righteousness as broad as the sky and well respected by all fellow martial people. Master himself well admires you as well, so he exhorted us to never act with impoliteness or to face strict punishment. Uncle Master Liu, you have great fame spreading around the martial world, so there's really no worry regarding that, Shi Dengda said. Chief Zhuo was flattering me. I don't have such great fame, Liu Jiangfang smiled. Seeing that neither would give in, Sister Ding Yu couldn't help cutting in. Brother Liu, why don't you just postpone it for a little while? Everybody here today is a good friend of yours. Who would be laughing at you? Even if there are really a few jerks that are bold enough to ridicule you, you don't have to worry about it because I won't let them get off. She glanced at everyone's face challengingly to see who was going to be bold going to be so bold to offend her new to see who was going to be so bold to offend her fellow master in the Five Mountains Sword Alliance. Liu Changfeng nodded. Well, since Sister Ying Yi also said so, let's postpone my gold basin hand washing ceremony till noon tomorrow. All of my good friends, please stay one more day in the town of Hangshang and wait for me to discuss this more with these nephew apprentices of the Shangshang Sword School. Suddenly, a girl's shouting voice came from the direction of the inner rooms. Hey, back off. What are you doing? Who I want to play with is none of your business. Stunned, everyone recognized her voice. Yeah, she's back. It was the young girl Chu Feiyan who confronted Yu Changhai the day before. A man's voice rose. Sit down tight and shut up. I will let you go later. Huh, how strange. Is this your home? Why are you blocking Sister Liu and I from going to the back garden to catch butterflies? Chu Feiyan's voice rose again. Fine, if you want to go by yourself. Miss Liu has to stay here for a while, the man answered. Sis Liu thinks you are disgusting. Why don't you just go away and leave us alone? Sister Liu doesn't even know you, Chu Feiyan snapped. Another girl's voice came. Sister, let's go. Don't pay attention to him. Miss Liu, please stay here for a while, the man ordered. Liu Changfeng's anger started growing. Which jerk is being bold enough to cause trouble in my house and tease my Jing-er? He thought. Second senior apprentice of Liu House, Mi Wei-yi, rushed into the inner rooms toward the direction of the voices and saw his apprentice sister hand in hand with Chu Feiyan standing in the courtyard, while a young man in a yellow robe extended his arms and blocked their way. From the robe the young man was wearing, Mi Wei-yi recognized him as an apprentice of the Songshang school. With anger, he faked a cough and said loudly, Are you an apprentice brother of the Songshang Sword School? Why didn't you take a seat in the big hall? No need for that. I am following Alliance Chief's order to keep an eye on Liu's family members and not to let anyone get away, the man said arrogantly. His voice was not loud, but it had a clear tone of haughtiness. From his words, all the guests were stunned. Liu Changfeng's anger exploded. What's this all about? He questioned Xu Dangda. Apprentice Brother Wan, you can come out now. Watch your words. Uncle Master Liu has already agreed to stop the hand-washing ceremony, Xu Dangda urged. Yes, that would be the best, the man in the inner room answered. He entered the big hall from the inner room and bowed to Liu Changfeng. Songshan apprentice Wan Da Ping here shows his respect to Uncle Master Liu. Liu Changfeng's body trembled from anger. How many Songshan apprentices are here today? Why don't you all show yourselves now? He yelled. Right after his last word, voices of dozens of people suddenly answered in unison from above the roof, outside of the gate, around the corner of the hallway, in the backyard, and all other directions. Sure, Songshan apprentices show their respect to Uncle Master Liu. The shouting of dozens of voices came at the exact same moment, loudly and unexpectedly. That really caught all the guests in the big hall completely off guard. The dozen people standing on the roof were all in yellow robes, but the others in the big hall each dressed differently, and obviously had sneaked into the big hall a while back to keep watch on Liu Changfeng in secret. They mixed themselves with the other 1,000 guests, and no one had suspected them at all. What is going on? Sister Ding Yu was the first one to lose her calmness. What's this about? This is too much, she called out. Please excuse us, Uncle Master Ding Yu, Xu Dangda explained. Our master gave us the specific order that we should stop Uncle Master Liu's hand-washing ceremony at all costs. We were afraid that Uncle Master Liu wouldn't follow the order, so had to give offense. Please, pardon us. Right at that moment, over a dozen people walked out from the inner rooms. They were Liu Changfeng's wife, his 2 young children, and 7 apprentices of the Liu house, each with a Songshan apprentice behind, holding a dagger against each one's back. No, things are about to get heavy. Dear friends, Liu Zhengfeng said loudly, Liu Zhengfeng is not someone who would cling obstinately to his course, but today, with such intimidation from apprentice brother Zhuo, if I have to bend my will because of force, my reputation will be ruined. Then why should I even live? Apprentice brother Zhuo will not allow me to have my gold basin hand washing. My head can be cut off, but my will cannot be bent. He took a step forward and reached for the gold basin. Hold it! Xu Dangda yelled out. He waved the command flag and blocked the way. Reaching his left hand out, Liu Zhengfeng poked at Xi's eyes. Xu Dangda raised both of his hands, both of his arms to block when Liu Zhengfeng abruptly pulled his left hand back and poked with his right hand. With no other options, Xu Dangda had to take a step back. After forcing Xu Dangda back, Liu Zhengfeng reached for the gold basin again, when he heard some kind of swooshing sounds from behind his back, and two people had jumped on him. Without turning around, Liu Zhengfeng threw a swift back kick with his left foot. Bang! A Songshan apprentice flew into the air. Then he grabbed back with his right hand, following the direction of the sound, and grabbed at another Songshan apprentice's collar. Pulling toward the direction of the force, he lifted the second apprentice over his shoulder and threw him toward Xu Dangda. The back kick with his left foot and the back grab with his right hand were executed so swiftly and accurately that it was almost like he had eyes on his back. The unusual skills of an elite fighter were clearly shown in those moves. In shock, no more Songshan apprentices dared to come at Liu Zhengfeng again. The Songshan apprentice behind Liu Zhengfeng's son shouted, Uncle Master Liu, if you don't stop right now, I will have to kill your son. Liu Zhengfeng turned his head back and threw a glance at his son. With so many heroes here today, if you dare to touch a single hair of my son, all you dozens of Songshan apprentices will be grounded into 10,000 pieces, he said coldly. Wow, things just went from 0 to 60 really fast, guys. These were not bluffing words. If this Songshan apprentice had really hurt his young son, it would certainly arouse public indignation and cause all of the guests to attack the Songshan apprentices, and then none of the Hangshan apprentices would make it out alive. He turned back and reached for the gold basin once again. It seemed that no one would be able to stop Liu Zhengfeng this time, when suddenly, with a silver flash, a tiny missile flew over. Liu Zhengfeng took 2 steps back. Ring! The missile hit the edge of the gold basin and knocked it down to the ground. Clank! The gold basin flipped over and landed bottom up. Water splashed all over the floor. Meanwhile, a yellow shadow jumped off the rooftop and in a flash had rushed by the fallen gold basin. He stomped on the gold basin collapsed under his foot and was flattened. In his 40s, the man had medium height. He was an extremely thin man with ugly mustaches under his nose. Apprentice Brother Liu, I've got orders from the Alliance Chief to not let you have your gold basin hand washing, he said, cupping his hands toward Liu Zhengfeng. Liu Zhengfeng knew the man in front of him. His name was Fei Bin, and he was the 4th apprentice brother of Zhuo Longchan, the headmaster of the Songshan Sword School. His outstanding skills in Great Songyang Palm earned him great fame in the martial world. Obviously, people sent by the Songshan Sword School to deal with him included more than just second-generation apprentices. Since the gold basin had been destroyed, there was no way to continue the gold basin hand-washing ceremony. Should he fight with all his might, or temporarily endure humiliation? Liu Zhengfeng could not make up his mind. Then, he quickly thought, even though the Songshan Sword School has the command flag of the 5 Mountain Sword Alliance, they are so overbearing. Among the 1,000 or so heroes here today, someone had got to stand out and uphold justice. So he cupped his hand to salute back. Apprentice Brother Fei, why didn't you join us and enjoy a cup of wine, but would rather hide on top of the roof to suffer from the sun? Probably there are even more masters from Songshang Sword School here today. Please, all come out now. If you want to deal with me, apprentice brother Fei is more than enough. If you want to wipe out all these heroes here today, the power of Songshang Sword School probably is not yet enough. Apprentice brother Liu, Fei Bin said with a slight smile. You don't need to foment discord just to fight apprentice brother Liu you alone. I wouldn't have a chance defending myself against the slight geese landing kung fu you have just showed. The Songshang Sword School would never dare to offend the Hangshang Sword School, and would never dare to offend any hero here today, either. We wouldn't even dare to just offend apprentice brother Liu. We are only here to beg apprentice brother Liu to not wash hands for the sake of thousands of fellow martial people's lives. Hearing these words, everyone in the big hall was greatly surprised. Whether or not Liu Xiangfeng had his gold basin hand washing, how could it affect thousands of people? They all pondered the question. Well, Sister Dingye cut in again. Brother Liu wants to wash his hands and accept that tiny sergeant title. To be frank, I really didn't approve that idea, but everybody has his own will. Heck, if he wants to win promotion and get rich, as long as he does not harm people and do not go against the chivalry side, then no one has the right to prevent him. I don't think Brother Liu has the kind of ability to harm so many fellow martial people. Sister Dingye, Fei Bin said, you are a devout Buddhist. That's why you do not understand the kind of dirty tricks that are used by others. If this big conspiracy got through, then not only will countless of fellow martial people die, a lot of innocent citizens will also be greatly harmed. Please think about it. Liu Sir of the Hangshang Sword School is a famous and well-respected hero in the martial world. Why would he lower himself and endure the kind of ill treatment by those filthy government officials? Liu Sir already has tons of money. Why would he hanker after promotion and money? There is really a sinister reason here. Oh, someone from chat. You might be right. There's something else going on. That sounds reasonable. Everyone thought to himself or herself, I have felt suspicious earlier. Why would someone like Liu Sir accept such a tiny government title? How odd. Apprentice brother Fei, if you want to throw maliciously slanders at me, at least make it sound right, Liu Jiangfang said with a laugh, holding his anger back. Other apprentice brothers of the Songshang Sword School, why don't you show yourself now? Fine, voices came from both the east side and the west side of the roof. Two yellow shadows flashed by in front of everyone's eyes, and two men appeared at the entrance of the hall. The qinggong they used was exactly the same type Fei Bin had used earlier when he jumped down from the roof. The one standing to the east was a big fatty with broad shoulders. Sister Dingye and the others recognized him to be the second apprentice brother of the Songshang Sword School headmaster, Tower Holding Palm Ding Mian. The one standing to the west was a tall and thin man. He was the third apprentice of the Songshang Sword School, Crane Hands, Liu Bai. Hi, Liu Sir. Hi, everyone. The two cupped their hands slightly to greet. Ding Mian and Liu Bai both had great fame in the martial world. Everyone stood up to greet back. Seeing that more and more first-class Songshang masters showed up, all had a gut feeling that this whole thing was not going to end pleasantly. Most likely, Liu Jiangfeng would get the worst of it. Brother Liu, don't worry. All things in this world cannot go against righteousness. Even though they have an overwhelming number of guys, the friends from our Taishan Sword School, Huashan Sword School, and Hangshang Sword School aren't just a bunch of good-for-nothing guys either, Sister Dingye said angrily. Sister Dingye, Liu Jiangfeng said with a wry smile, this is so embarrassing. It is really an internal affair with my Hangshang Sword School, yet it caused worries for so many friends. It is very clear in my mind that my senior apprentice brother Mo must have complained to Alliance Chief Zhuo of the Songshang Sword School, which brought so many apprentice brothers of the Songshang Sword School here to denounce my wrong deeds. Fine. It was my fault that I have not shown good manners to senior apprentice brother Mo. I will apologize to Senior Apprentice Brother Mo and ask for his forgiveness. Fabian glanced around the hall, his eyes squinting, yet appearing to be bright and piercing, clearly showing his great inner energy. What does this have anything to do with Great Mr. Mo? Great Mr. Mo, please come out so we can straighten this out, he demanded. After his words, the entire hall quieted down. But after quite a while, Night Reign of Xiaoxian, Great Mr. Mo still did not step out. Liu Jiangfeng let out a wry smile. Everyone in the martial world has already known that my apprentice brother Mo and I don't get along, so I really don't have to hide this fact. I am lucky to have been born in a rich family and inherited quite a few assets from my ancestors. My apprentice brother Mo, on the other hand, came from a very poor family. Normally speaking, even friends should be giving loans to each other, not mentioning apprentice brothers, but just because of the difference here, senior apprentice brother Mo loathed about it and never come to my home. We have not seen each other or contacted each other for years. Of course, senior apprentice brother Mo would not come here today. What really ticked me off was the fact that simply with the one-sided story from my senior apprentice brother Mo, Alliance Chief Jewel had sent so many apprentice brothers here to deal with me today, even taking my wife and my children prisoner. Don't you think you are making a fuss over a trifling matter? Raise the command flag, Fabian said to Shi Dengda. Yes, Shi Dengda answered and raised the command flag high in the air by the side of Fabian. Apprentice Brother Liu, Fabian said grimly, the matter today has nothing to do with the headmaster of the Hangshang Sword School, Great Mr. Mo. You don't need to mix him into this. Alliance Chief Zhuo has ordered us to investigate what secret collaboration does Apprentice Brother Liu have with the demon cult chief Dongfang Invincible, and what plot you are developing to attack our Five Mountains Sword Alliance and other chivalrous martial fellows. Dun dun dun. Everyone in the big hall was greatly stunned by those words. So the demon cult is a big faction, okay? A big faction that are enemies with these guys. Many could not help but utter a cry of surprise. The demon cult was the ultimate enemy of all the martial people on the good side of the martial world. The two sides had scores tracing back to 100 years, fighting continuously all these years with exchanging triumphs. Among the 1,000 or so people in the big hall, at least half of them had old scores to settle with the demon cult. Some lost family members in the fights, and others lost senior masters. Every time the name demon cult was mentioned, all would bite their lips hard with hatred. The ultimate reason why the Five Mountains Sword Schools had formed an alliance was to unite together to fight the demon cult. Demon cult had many followers and did not lack highly skilled elite fighters. That was why, even though the chivalrous schools had all had unique skills of their own, they still failed to defeat the demon cult. Furthermore, the demon cult chief, Dongfang Invincible, maintained the title of number 1 in the martial world. His name was Invincible, and he had never lost after he completed his apprenticeship. That was simply incredible. So, when everyone heard Fei Bin criticizing Liu Chengfeng for collaborating with the demon cult, which did relate to everyone's own life, the sympathy they had toward Liu Chengfeng evaporated instantly. Uh, People are confused by the characters. Yeah, there's a lot of characters in there. I don't know, guys. So Liu Chengfeng is the guy who's going to do the hand washing, and there are like 3 higher ups or 3 like really good fighters from the Songshang school that just came in order to stop him. Okay, and this Fei Bin guy is one of those. Dun, dun, dun. Nikki, does this story have footnotes or a Wikipedia? It does have a Wikipedia with like characters' names and stuff. But be careful, right? Like you might get spoilers if you look at Wikipedia. All right, let's take another 3-minute break. Should we do? Okay. Did someone find a remix of Bad Romance? Or should we look? Let me check it out. All right, I'm just gonna search on YouTube for a remix of Bad Romance. Hopefully, it's a good one because I'm just gonna play it. All right, let's see. Oh, this one. Okay, okay. It's a 2.4 million views, so it must be good, right? It's the David Guetta remix. I'm not gonna play it for you guys. I'm not gonna let you guys see the video because it might kill the stream. All right, be right back. That was 7 minutes long. All right, you asked for it. That was long. That was a pretty good one. I like that. Thanks, Nikki. Oh, you guys want me to try snacks? Snacks? Yeah, there are some there's some Japanese like markets around here. I can just go take a look and buy random snacks. No, I hate durian. Oh my god. It smells so bad. Come on, guys. I know, I'm a bad Asian. Like I hate durian. Like, everyone else in my family likes it, but I don't know why. Like it's nasty. But the smell is bad. And like the taste is not as bad, but the smell, like you can't stand it. Smells like old shoe. Yeah, I played the entire thing. Okay. Well, Nikki, if I get a copyright strike, it's your fault. Mm. Mm. Ready? Yeah, man. The chat just loves food. Just loves food. Oh, you don't know what a durian is? All right. Hey, we can do this. I have the internet. I can show you. This, my friends, is a durian. The worst fruit in the world. Look at this. Even Google agrees. It's known for its pungent odor. Hey, Fee Tu Kin. Thanks for dropping in. Oh, Amy, that's right. Yeah, being a bad Asian means not finishing every grain of rice in your bowl. I always finish every single grain of rice. Like when I was young, my dad was like, yeah. Wait, let me change the camera. When I was young, my dad was like, okay, hey, if you don't eat all of the grains of rice on your plate, like for every single grain of rice that you leave, when you die and go to the underworld, you're gonna have to eat one worm. So for every grain of rice you miss, you have to eat one worm when you die. So after that, I was like, okay, fine, Dad, I'm gonna eat all the grains of rice. Okay. Nikki. Oh, you're gonna start a new YouTube account and give it to me. Thanks a lot. If mine gets deleted, thanks a lot, Nikki. That's so nice of you. I mean, you're such a great person. All right. So what happened? So 3 people from the Songshang Sword School, 3 like higher ups, come in, and they're like, they stop Liu Changfeng from doing the hand washing ceremony. Okay, and now they just accused him of working with the demon cult. We don't know yet if that's true or not. I have never seen Demon Cult Chief Dongfang Invincible before in my whole life. Where did you get the idea of the so-called collaboration and the so-called plots? Liu Zhangfeng asked. Fabian turned his head to the side and stared at his third apprentice brother, Liu Bai, waiting for him to speak. Apprentice brother Liu, what you said might be a bit shallow. There's an elder in the demon cult named Chu Yang. I wonder if apprentice brother Liu knows him, Liu Bai said in a soft voice. Liu Changfeng had remained calmed since the beginning of the disturbance, but as soon as he heard the name Chu Yang mentioned, his face changed color. He shut his mouth tight and did not answer the question. The fatty, Ding Mian, had not said anything since he entered the hall, but now he suddenly shouted harshly, Do you know Chu Yang? His voice sounded like a thunder echoing in everyone's ears. He was a big and tall guy, yet now he seemed to be even bigger and taller in everyone's eyes, looking like a majestic giant. Liu Changfeng still did not answer. Thousands of eyes stared at his face. Everyone thought the same thing. If he could not think of an answer, then he was really admitting to it. After a long while, Liu Zhangfeng finally nodded. That's right. I not only know Big Brother Chu Yang, but also consider him the only person that knows my heart and is my best friend. Instantly, the big hall was taken over by uproar. These words of Liu Zhangfeng caught everyone by surprise. Everyone had thought that he would at least try to deny the allegation, or only admitting that he probably had met that Chu Yang once or twice. No one expected him to claim that this demon cult elder was actually his best friend. Fabian let out a relaxed smile. It's great that you admit it. A true man takes on his own responsibilities. Liu Zhangfeng, Alliance Chief Zhou, has given you 2 options to choose from. Liu Zhangfeng paid no attention to him, as if he had not heard any word from Fabian. He sat down slowly with no specific expression on his face and poured himself a cup of wine. Raising the cup to his lips, he drank the wine slowly. Everyone could see that his robe and his long sleeves remained dead still, no trembling whatsoever. That was a good indication that he had a very good grip of himself, even in such an emergency situation. It was clearly shown that his courage and his kung fu skills were both first class. Without any one of the two, he would not have behaved in such a calm way. Inwardly, everyone could not help but praise him. George says, What? Enemies can't be friends? Alliance Chief Zhou said, Liu Zhangfeng is one with extraordinary talents in the Hangshang Sword School. He just made friends with the wrong kind of people and tumbled down the wrong way. We, as friends of the chivalrous side in the martial world, only want to help him. So of course, we will give him a way to correct his errors. Alliance Chief Zhou asked me to take a message to apprentice brother Liu. If you want to take this option, then within the next month, slay the demon cult elder Chu Yang. Once you come back with his head, we will all forget about this incident and be good friends and good brothers again, Fabian said loudly. Everyone in the big hall thought, good and evil are mutually exclusive. Every single time when people from various heretical sects that belong to the demon cult meet people from the chivalrous side of the martial world, fierce fights break out. It was not too much of a request from Alliance Chief Zhou to ask Liu Zhangfeng to kill Chu Yang to show his sincerity. Okay, so maybe this is why they wanted to stop his hand washing. They wanted him to kill this demon cult elder. A sad smile flashed by Liu Qiangfeng's face. Big Brother Big Brother Chu and I already felt like old friends when we first met, he said. During the dozens of times when we had long chats late into the night, occasionally we would talk about the different opinions between schools and clans. We would always sigh deeply and consider such fights and conflicts unproductive and ineffective. I only made friends with Big Brother Chu for the sake of music. He is an expert in zither. I like to play the bamboo flute. Most of the times when we get together, we just played the zither and flute, never discussing kung fu skills. He paused and smiled and went on. Maybe you don't believe this, but in the entire world today, I think no one plays the zither better than Big Brother Chu. And regarding bamboo flute skills, I also consider myself not inferior than anyone else. Although Big Brother Chu is a member of the demon cult, from the music of his zither play, I could tell that he had a noble character and the breath of a man with integrity. Liu Qiangfeng not only admires him, but also looks up to him. Although I am just a coarse guy, I would never agree to harm such a gentleman. So a zither is a string instrument. Let me show you. Yeah. No, this thing. Yeah, here we go. The guzheng. So Liu Qiangfeng plays the flute, and this other guy, this Chu Yang guy, plays the zither. Okay, chat is talking about eating bats. I don't know why. Everyone was greatly surprised by these words. No one had anticipated that he actually made friends with Chu Yang, all because of music. From the honest look on his face, without a single trace of deceiving, one simply could not help but believe him. Since many people in the martial world had unusual or out of the ordinary behaviors, music was well known to have fascinating power upon people. It wouldn't be a surprise to know that Liu Qiangfeng had such a hobby. People who knew the Hangshang Sword School well also thought. Many generations of Hangshang masters all loved music. Even the current headmaster of the Hangshang Sword School, Great Mr. Mo, has a nickname of Night Rain of Xiaoxiang, a famous music title. He never lets his Hu Qin leave his side, and people described his kung fu as sword hidden in the Hu Qin. Sword plays the music. Then it is definitely possible that Liu Qiangfeng made friends with Chu Yang because of his love for playing the bamboo flute. Yeah, so the master of the Hangshang Sword School, this Mr. Mo, remember? We saw him before, right? Yeah, he was playing the Hu Qin. So it looks like this school has kind of a tradition of a lot of people liking music and a lot of people playing instruments. Alliance Chief Joel clearly knows that you have made friends with Devil Chu for the sake of music based on his own investigation. Fabian did not object. He said the demon cult has secret and evil plots. They know that our Five Mountains Sword Alliance is gaining more and more prosperities these last couple of years, and might grow into an opponent they cannot fight. That is why they are trying all kinds of tricks to try and to hurt us by fomenting discord. They tempt some with gold and treasure, others with beautiful women. Apprentice Brother has been a man of integrity, so they tried to cater your taste and sent Chu Yang to work you with music. Apprentice Brother Liu, please wake up. Don't you remember how many people on our side had been slain by the demon cult? Don't you see that you have fallen into evil's trap? That's right, Sister Dingyi agreed. Apprentice Brother Fei is right. The terror of the demon cult wasn't really because of any high-level kung fu of theirs. It was because of their various cunning schemes that are so hard to guard against. Apprentice Brother Liu, you are a man of integrity. It's all right that you got tricked by an evil villain. You can kill Chu Yang, the devil, with a single blow. It's just as simple as that. Our Five Mountains Sword Alliance has the same roots with different branches. You must not let the villains of the demon cult drive a wedge between our fellow martial friends and damage our relationship. Priest Tianmen nodded with concord. Apprentice Brother Liu, a gentleman's mistake is as easy to spot as the sun and the moon. Once he learns about the mistake and corrects himself, the gain suppresses the harm. All you need to do is to kill that Chu named devil. Then people in the chivalrous side will all raise their thumbs and praise. Liu Changfeng of the Hangshang Sword School is a true man who can distinguish between good and evil. And we, as your friends, will look good too. Liu Changfeng did not answer. He turned and stared right into Yue Buchun's eyes. Apprentice Brother Yue, you are a true gentleman who can distinguish between right and wrong. Many of the masters here are forcing me to sell out my friend. What would you say? So you remember, Yue Buchun is the master of the Huashan school, the same school that Lin Pingzhi just joined, and the same school that Ling Huchong belongs to. Brother Liu, Yue Buchun answered, if he were a true friend, then we martial people wouldn't even frown if we have to die for our friends. But that Chu of the demon cult obviously has evil intent behind his smiles. With honey on his lips, he really has murder in his heart when he catered to your tastes. This kind of enemy is the evilest kind. His object is to bring disgrace and ruin upon you and destroy your family. The evil intention of him is to the extreme. If such a person can still be called a friend, then isn't it a disgrace to the definition of friend? In history, there were many examples of people placing righteousness above family loyalty. Even family can be disregarded. Why cannot such a big devil and a big villain that should have never be considered a friend be disregarded? Hearing his theory, everyone cheered. Mr. Yue's words have said it clearly. With friends, one of course should consider the code of honor, but with enemies, one should strike down with no mercy. Why restrict oneself with the code of honor? Liu Shangfeng let out a sigh. He waited until the big hall quieted down before speaking again, slowly. At the very beginning, when I decided to make friends with Big Brother Chu, I had expected something like this to happen. After some careful observation, I came upon the conclusion that there will be a big fight between our Five Mountains Sword Alliance and the Demon Cult soon. Once the fight breaks out, there will be apprentice brothers in the alliance on one side and a good friend on the other side. It would be impossible for me to help either side. That's why I came up with this dumb idea to have my gold basin hand-washing ceremony. I just wanted to tell everyone in the martial world that Liu Changfeng would be leaving the martial world and never be involved in any of the score-settling fights. I just wish I could stay out of everything and not get involved. Buying this tiny army sergeant title was just a way to disgrace myself and hide my true intentions. But Alliance Chief Zhou is certainly resourceful. This move of mine simply could not fool him. Oh, so he admits it. He did make friends with the guy. And the hand washing ceremony was just so that he did not have to fight his own friends. When the battle comes, when the huge battle between these two sides comes. Liu Xiangfeng is a hippie? Alright. Hey Baytuber, what is going on? Songs? I have a song of my own, if you guys don't have a song. Hearing his explanation, everyone finally understood. All thought, so he really had secret intentions behind the Gold Basin hand-washing event. I figured there would be no way that such a master of the Hangshang Sword School would be willing to accept such a tiny title from the government. After the explanation, everyone found himself or herself having the foresight way ahead of time. Fabian, Ding Mian, and Lu Bai, these are the three guys from the Songshang School, looked at each other and all felt quite contented. If it weren't for apprentice brother Zhuo, who saw through your conspiracy and stopped you in time, your plan would have succeeded, they all thought. Liu Xiangfeng continued. For the last 100 years, the demon cult and our chivalrous side have been fighting with each other back and forth. It would be impossible to go over the reasons behind all these fights. All I want is to stay away from such violent and fierce fights and live my remaining years in a quiet place, playing the flute and teaching some kids, just like an average law-abiding citizen. I think this wish of mine does not violate my school rules and the alliance treaty of the Five Mountains Sword Alliance. If everyone thinks like you do and desert on the if everyone thinks like you do and desert on the eve of a battle, then do we just let the demon cult control the martial world and harm everybody? If you wanted to stay out of this, then why didn't the Chu named devil stay out of everything? Fabian sneered. With a slight smile, Liu Qiangfeng answered, Big Brother Chu had vowed to the ancestors of the demon cult right in front of my eyes a while back, promising that no matter how the demon cult fights with the chivalrous side, he would always stay out of it and never interfere. As long as no one attacks him, he will not attack anyone. Ah, how wonderful, Fabian sneered again. What if someone from the chivalrous side does attack him? Big Brother Chu said that he would try his best to endure and never fight anyone for fame and victory. He would even try his best to mend the gap of misunderstanding between the two sides. Just this morning, Big Brother Chu sent me a message saying that Huashan apprentice Ling Hu Chong was wounded terribly by others and was on the verge of dying. It was him who took the initiative and saved Ling Hu Chong. What? Wait, this Chu young guy saved Ling Hu Chong? The plot thickens. Noises broke out in the crowd again, especially among ones belonging to the Huashang Sword School, Hangshang Sword School, and Qingcheng Sword School, who immediately started whispering to each other's ears. Yue Lingshan from the Huashang Sword School could not help asking, Uncle Master Liu, where is my big apprentice brother? Is it really that Chu named senior master who saved his life? If Big Brother Chu said so, then of course it's true, Liu Qiangfeng answered. When you see nephew Ling Hu later, you can ask him yourself. What's so strange about that? Fabian mocked. Demon cult members always try to foment discord, using any means they could get their hands on. If he could use every possible means to draw you in, of course he would use every possible means to draw a Huashan apprentice. Maybe Ling Hu Chong would feel so grateful and want to return that favor. Then we would have another traitor in our Five Mountains Sword Alliance. He then turned to Yue Buchun and explained, Apprentice Brother Yue, I am just using this as a way of analogy. Please, don't mind. I don't mind, Yue Buchun answered with a smile. Apprentice Brother Fei, Liu Qiangfeng said. Liu Qiangfeng raised his eyebrows and asked loudly, You said another traitor. What do you mean by another? Fabian sneered. You understand it very well. Do I still need to explain? Huh, so you are calling me traitor of my own school? Liu Qiangfeng yelled. It's my private matter who I want to make friends with. It's none of other people's business. Liu Qiangfeng does not dare to betray my master and my Hangshang Sword School. I'll send the word traitor right back to you. Before, he had acted with good manners, just like a local gentleman, rich yet rustic. But now he had shown a quite different image, one filled with vitality and heroic spirit. Seeing his tit-for-tat arguments with Fabian and not giving away any ground, everyone admired his courage. How long is this chapter, guys? We've been going for an hour 40 minutes. I think last time was 2 hours. Let's just keep going. I suppose Apprentice Brother Liu is not interested with this option, right? Are you sure you don't want to rid the evil and kill that big devil, Chu Yang? Fabian asked. If Alliance Chief Zhuo has given you the order, then go ahead, apprentice brother Fei. Go ahead and kill my entire family, Liu Changfeng answered with no hesitation. Are you thinking that just because so many heroes are visiting you in your home, our Five Mountains Sword Alliance would have scruples and give up on purifying our own group? Fei Bin mocked. Come here, he beckoned Shi Dangda. Yes, Shi Dangda answered and took 3 steps forward. Fei Bin took the 5-colored command flag from Shi and raised it high. Liu Changfang, listen carefully. Alliance Chief Zhuo has ordered that if you don't agree to kill Chu Yang within a month, then the Five Mountains Sword Alliance will have no choice but to purify our own group. To prevent any future problem, we will have to rid the branches together with the root. You'd better think it through. I think they're saying to kill his own they're gonna kill his family. Liu Changfeng let out a sad smile. When I make a friend, I value the utter devotion. How could I kill a friend in exchange for my own protection? Since Alliance Chief Zhuo does not allow this, I, Liu Changfeng, with only a little power and backing, do not even stand a chance resisting Alliance Chief Zhuo. Your Songshang Sword School has planned everything beforehand, probably even got my coffin ready. If you want to do it, then go ahead and do it. What are you waiting for? Fei Bin waved the command flag and said in a loud voice, Apprentice brother Tianmen of the Taishan Sword School, apprentice brother Yue of the Huashan Sword School, sister Ding Yi of the Hangshang Sword School, and apprentice brothers and nephew apprentices of the Hangshang Sword School, according to Alliance Chief Zhuo's order, good and evil can never coexist. The demon cult has heaps of scores with our Five Mountains Sword Alliance. The hatred is as deep as the ocean. Liu Changfeng associated himself with the devil and submitted himself to the enemy. Everyone in our Five Mountains Sword Alliance is obligated to attack him and kill him. All the ones that will follow the order, please stand to the left. Priest Tianmen stood up and strode to the left without even looking at Liu Changfeng. Priest Tianmen's master had been slain by a female demon cult elder, which was why he hated the demon cult to the very marrow of his bones. Once he walked to the left, all his apprentices followed him over. Brother Liu, Yue Buchun stood up. This is the master of the Huashan Sword School. All you need to do is nod, and I, Yue Buchun, will take care of the business of Chu Yang for you. You said that a true man should not betray his friends. But is Chu Yang your only friend in this world? Aren't people in our Five Mountains Sword Alliance, and many people here today, your friends too? The thousands of fellow martial people here traveled long ways to congratulate you sincerely when they heard you were having your gold basin hand-washing ceremony. They've shown their friendship. Don't the lives of your entire family, kindness, and friendship of your friends in the Five Mountains Sword Alliance, and the friendship of those hundreds of fellow martial people outweigh this one individual, Chu Yang? Slowly shaking his head, Liu Changfeng answered, Apprentice brother Yue, you are a scholar. You should have heard the saying of, a true man has things he will not do. I am grateful for your advice and your good words. When others force me to kill Chu Yang, I won't agree. Just like when someone forces me to kill you, apprentice brother Yue, or any one of the friends here, I would never agree. I would never agree, even if my entire family would be wiped out as the consequence. It's true that big brother Chu is a good friend of mine, but apprentice brother Yue is also a good friend of mine. If big brother Chu has ever even mentioned about plotting against any friend of mine in the Five Mountains Sword Alliance, I would have looked down upon his character and not consider him a friend. These words were said in a very sincere way and moved many people in the big hall. Brotherhood was a greatly valued virtue in the martial world. So even though these martial people did not like the fact that Liu Changfeng defended his relationship with Chu Yang, they all praised Liu Changfeng inwardly. George asks, who really is the demon cult? We'll find out. Find out later. Yue Buchun shook his head and argued, Brother Liu, you said it wrong. Your valuing of brotherhood is very admirable, but you did not distinguish between good and evil or right and wrong. the demon cult committed countless number of crimes and harmed many gentlemen and innocent people. Just for the sake of your interest in music, giving your wholehearted devotion to him is a terrible misunderstanding of the definition of brotherhood. Apprentice Brother Yue, you don't play any instrument. That's why you don't understand me here, Liu Changfeng explained with a smile. A person can lie through his words, but the sound of flute or zither is directly from one's heart and can't lie. Big Brother Chu and I have played the flute and zither together. We fully understand each other, wholeheartedly. I can guarantee you with my life and my reputation that although Big Brother Chu is a member of the demon cult, he does not have any trace of evil of the demon cult. With a long sigh, Yue Buchun walked by Priest Tianmen's side. Lao Dunois, Yue Lingshan, Lu Dayou, and the bunch all followed him over. Uh-oh, they're all against him now. Sister Ding Ye stared at Liu Changfeng. Starting from now on, should I call you Brother Liu or Liu Changfeng? She asked. Liu Changfeng is bound to die any minute now. Sister, there's no need for either one, Liu Changfeng replied with a wry smile. Sister Ding Ye put her palms together, forming a Buddhist greeting posture, and then prayed, May Buddha preserve us. She slowly walked by Yue Buchun, saying, The demon has added more crimes into the world. What a sin, what a sin. Her apprentices also followed her over. This is the personal matter of Liu Changfeng. It has nothing to do with other people. Apprentices of Hangshang Sword School, if you don't want to follow the traitor, you can stand to the left, too. After a short silence, a young man murmured, Uncle Master Liu, please pardon us apprentices. Then 30 or so Hangshan apprentices walked to the side of the nuns of the Hangshang Sword School. So even apprentices in his school, in Liu Changfeng's school, are betraying him. Those were all Liu Changfeng's nephew apprentices, since none of the other senior masters of the Hangshang Sword School came to the ceremony. Apprentices of Liu House, stand to the left side too, Fei Bin yelled again. Xiang Danyang answered loudly. We value the grace of our master. We will never betray him. We, as apprentices of Liu, will always be with our beloved master, dead or alive. Okay, there's one guy. One of his apprentices is staying loyal. Warm tears swamped Liu Changfeng's eyes. Good, good. Danyang, your words are already great comforts for your master. Why don't you all walk over? It was your master, I, who made the friend. It has nothing to do with any of you. With a loud clank sound, Mi Wei-yi drew his sword out. The Liu House undoubtedly is no match for the Five Mountains Sword Alliance, but what more could we lose other than our lives? Whoever wants to harm my master has to kill me first, he exclaimed while standing right in front of Liu Changfeng, blocking him protectively. Okay, so these two guys are like his like apprentices right underneath Liu Changfeng. So they're staying loyal to him. Ding Mian waved his left hand slightly, and a silver flash zipped out in extreme speed. In shock, Liu Changfeng pushed Mi Wei-yi's right shoulder hurriedly, using his inner energy. Mi Wei-yi was pushed to the left, and the silver flash headed directly toward Liu Changfeng's chest. Eager to protect his master, Xiang Danyang jumped forth to block, and the silver needle penetrated his heart squarely. He only had enough time to let out a painful groan before falling dead. Liu Changfeng lifted Xiang's body with his left hand and checked his breath. He then turned to Ding Mian. Ding Second, it is your Hangshang Sword School who has killed my apprentice first. Precisely. We killed first. So what? Ding Mian mocked coldly. There's one death. Wait, what did we want to do for deaths? That's really long. I don't want to do that for every single death. Liu Changfeng picked up Xiang Danyang's body with his both. Liu Changfeng picked up Xiang Danyang's body with both arms. It seemed as if he was going to throw the body toward Ding Mian. Ding Mian had long known that the Hangshang Sword School inner power style had some unique traits. Liu Qiangfeng was a first-class elite fighter in the Hangshang Sword School. From the way he gathered his strength, Ding Mian could tell that the strength of the throw must be tremendous. So he gathered his inner energy and readied himself to catch the body, so he could throw it right back. Although it appeared that Liu Qiangfeng picked up the body to throw it forward, he suddenly jumped to the side, holding the body in his hands and sent it toward Fei Bin's chest. The change was so swift and dramatic that Fei Bin was caught by a total surprise. He had to raise both of his palms and blocked the body with double knife hands, when suddenly he felt numbness from his ribs. Liu Qiangfeng had sealed his pressure points. Sealing your pressure points freezes you. After the successful move, Liu Qiangfeng grabbed the command flag from Fei Bin's grip using his left hand, while drawing Fei's sword with his right hand and placed the blade right on Fei Bin's throat. Then he struck Fei Bin's back on multiple spots with his left elbow rapidly and sealed another 3 pressure points on Fei Bin's back. He moved so fast that he completed the entire series of moves before Xiang Danyang's body even landed on the floor. Wow, this guy is really good. He's a top tier martial arts master. After Fei Bin was taken prisoner and the command flag exchanged hands, everyone finally realized that the moves Liu Qiangfeng used were from the unique kung fu of the Hangshang Sword School called Magical 13 Phantom Stances of Hangshan Mist. Wow. People had heard about it for a long time, and now they were lucky enough to actually see it with their own eyes. Yue Buchun had heard from his master many years ago that a great master from the last generation of the Hangshang Sword School created the magical phantom stances of Hangshan Mist, and that great master made a living by traveling around performing magic shows. Magic tricks relied on illusions and redirecting audiences' attentions. When that great master was in his old age, his kung fu skills became higher, and so did his skills with magic tricks. He was actually able to use his inner energy and kung fu skills in his magic tricks, entertaining a great amount of street audiences. Then later, he was able to merge his magic tricks skills into his kung fu skills. He was a funny guy and created this set of kung fu just for fun, having no idea that the set of kung fu would become one of the 3 unique sets of Hangshan kung fu skills. Although the set of kung fu had very odd and unexpected moves, it actually was not very useful in a real serious fight, because when masters fight, each would be guarding himself carefully and protect his own vital parts well, thus rendering these tricky and flashing moves useless. That was why when the Hangshang Sword School didn't emphasize even the Hangshang Sword School didn't emphasize on teaching it. If the apprentice appeared to be a flashy one, then the master would not teach him that set of kung fu, so that the apprentice won't be relying on fake and flashy moves and lose focus with the real rudimentary type of kung fu skills. Liu Qiangfeng was the quiet and deep type. After he learned that set of kung fu from his master, he had not used it ever until today. Now, when he used it in such an emergent situation, it actually worked wonders and helped him to take control of the notable Great Songyang Palm Fei Bin, whose real kung fu skills were definitely no less than his. Whew. It's a long paragraph. All right, I think it's time for. Is it time for another break? Yeah, let me take a break. This may be the last break. How long is this chapter, guys? All right, 5 minutes. Be right back. Woo! Almost done. We're almost done with the chapter. It's a little bit more. So you guys realize what happened, right? Like someone kills his apprentice and he takes his apprentice's body and he throws it at the guy, but he throws it as a trick, right? It was just a distraction. He throws it at the guy and then he seals his pressure points. All Yeah, if we go a chapter a week, it's gonna be well over a year. How many chapters is there again? 71. That's 71 weeks, guys. Oh, hey, there's a volume 2 book 2. We're like halfway done with book 1. All right, almost done, guys. Let's do this. That was a lot of fighting. Oh, then that guy died. Forgot to like. I'm not good. I'm not good with this stuff. Oh, we didn't get a chance to use a slap. I really like this sound effect. All right, where were we? Liu Changfeng held the command flag of the Five Mountains Sword Alliance high with his right hand and grabbed tight the sword that was on Fabian's throat with his left hand and said firmly, "Apprentice brother Ding, apprentice brother Liu, I made bold and took the command flag of the Five Mountains Sword Alliance. I dare not threaten the two of you. I just want to beg mercy from you." Ding Mian and Liu Bai looked at each other, both thinking, since apprentice brother Fei had fallen for his tricky attack, we'd better listen to what he has to say first. "What kind of mercy?" Ding Mian asked. "Would you two please take a message to Alliance Chief Zhou for me," Liu Changfeng said, "asking for his permission to let me and my family to withdraw from civilization and live in solitude without ever getting involved in any matter of the martial world. I will not see Big Brother Chu Yang ever again, and I will be leaving you, the apprentice brothers and friends here today, as well. I will bring my family and my apprentices to leave the country and live in a hermit's life. As long as I am alive, we will never step on the ground of China again." "Apprentice brother Liu and I cannot make a decision on that. We will have to report this to apprentice brother Zhou to get his judgment." Ding Mian hesitated for a second and then replied, We have the headmasters of the Taishan Sword School and the Huashan Sword School here, plus Sister Ding Yi from the Hangshang Sword School, who should be able to make a decision representing her headmaster apprentice sister. In addition, all the fellow martial people and heroes here today can act as eyewitnesses," Liu Changfeng argued. He glanced around everybody and said in a deep voice, "I am begging for a favor from all you friends. Please, let me save my family and my apprentices while not betraying my belief in brotherhood." Sister Ding Yi was the type who acted tough with a hot temper, yet very kind in one's heart. She first agreed. "That would be great. Thus we won't damage our good relationship. Apprentice brother Ding and apprentice brother Liu, let's agree to brother Liu. Since he wouldn't be seeing any member of the demon cult, and he will be far away, it'll be like there isn't a Liu Changfeng in this world at all. Why do we have to commit more killing?" "That sounds good," Priest Tianmen also nodded. "Brother Yue, what do you think?" "Brother Liu's words are as solid as a mountain," Yue Buchun said. "If he said so, of course, we can all trust him. Come on, let's turn hostility into friendship. Brother Liu, you set Brother Fei free, and then we'll all drink a cup of friendly wine. Tomorrow morning, you can take your family and your apprentices to leave the town of Hangshang." Even the headmasters of Taishan and Huashan said so, plus Sister Ding Yi is also pleading for Liu Changfeng. How can we dare oppose? But because apprentice brother Fei fell for Liu Changfeng's tricks, if we just agreed like that, everyone in the martial world will be saying that the Songshang Sword School was taken hostage by Liu Changfeng and had to give in. When rumors like this spreads out, what would happen to our reputation? Liu Bai said. "Oh, come on, dude. He's already gonna leave. Just let him leave." "It is Brother Liu who is begging for mercy from the Songshang Sword School. He wasn't threatening or forcing you. Talk about give in. It is Liu Changfeng who is giving in. at the Sangshang Sword School, and you've already killed an apprentice of the Liu house, Sister Dingye said. Di Xiu, get ready, Liu Bai said after a disgruntled snort. Yes, Sangshang apprentice Di Xiu. I don't think we've seen him before. He pushed the short sword in his hand forward a bit until the tip of the blade penetrated the cloth and reached Liu Jiangfeng's eldest son's back muscle. Liu Jiangfeng, if you want to beg for mercy, then come back with us to Mount Songshang and see Alliance Chief Zhuo. You can beg him for mercy yourself. We are just following orders. We can't make decisions. Give me back the command flag and set my apprentice brother Fei free, Liu Bai demanded. With a sad smile, Liu Jiangfeng turned to his son. Son, are you afraid to die? I am with you, Dad. I am not afraid, Liu's son exclaimed. Good kid, Liu Jiangfeng said. Kill him, Liu Bai yelled. Di Xiu pushed the sword forward. The tip of the short sword went all the way until it penetrated the heart. Then he pulled the short sword out as Liu's son collapsed onto the floor, blood gushing out from the wound on his back. Madame Liu, Liu Jiangfeng's wife, screamed and pushed and rushed by her son's body. Kill her too, Liu Bai yelled again. Di Xiu thrust his sword forward. The blade penetrated Madame Liu's back. Sister Dingye's anger exploded. Swoosh! She slammed her palm toward Di Xiu while swearing, You monster! Ding Mian rushed forward and also pushed out with his palm. The two palms met squarely in the midair, sending Sister Dingye stumbling 3 steps back. Sister Dingye felt a great pain from her chest, with blood gushing out of her throat into her mouth. She was the type that would always try to best others, so she immediately swallowed the blood back in, not showing any weakness. Thanks for your grace, Ding Mian smirked. Sister Dingye's kung fu was not specialized in her palm strength. In addition, she didn't put a lot of strength into her palm strike toward Di Xiu, because she, as a senior, did not want to kill Di Xiu, a junior. But when Ding Mian suddenly took on her palm strike with all his strength, and at the time when the two palms met, it was already too late for Sister Dingye to add more strength to the strike. So they basically attacked each other, right? And apparently Sister Dingye lost and Ding Mian won. Ding Mian's strength overwhelmed Sister Dingye like a huge wave and injured her badly. In great rage, Sister Dingye wanted to strike out with her palm again, but when she tried to gather her inner energy, great pain came from her abdomen. It almost felt like someone was cutting her flesh with a knife. Realizing how severely she had been injured, she clearly knew that she would have no chance of winning the fight with Ding Mian today. So she beckoned her apprentices and said angrily, Let's go! Then strode out of the gate. All her apprentices followed her. What, she just leaves? Okay. Kill more, Liu Bai yelled again. 2 Songshang apprentices pushed their short swords forward and killed 2 more apprentices of Liu House. Listen carefully, Liu House apprentices, Liu Bai said. If you want to live, then kneel down now and beg for mercy. Whoever is willing to condemn Liu Jiangfeng, his life will be spared. You filthy murderers! Your Songshang sword school is 10,000 times eviler than the demon cult, Liu Jiangfeng's daughter, Liu Jing, swore angrily. Kill! Liu Bai yelled. Wan Daping raised his longsword and chopped downward. The blade cut through Liu Jing's right shoulder and went all the way down to her waist. Xu Dangda and other Songshang apprentices also thrust out their swords and killed the Liu House apprentices whose pressure points were sealed earlier. Although the people in the big hall were used to dangerous lives, yet all were greatly shocked by the massacre scene. Some senior masters had wanted to call them to stop, but the Songshang Sword School had acted so fast that within the moment of hesitation, the hall had been filled with dead bodies. Everyone then thought, good and evil can never coexist. The Songshang Sword School's acts weren't really for any private score they have with Liu Jiangfeng, but acts to fight with the demon cult. Although the acts were kind of brutal, one really should not criticize them. In addition, at the moment, the Songshang Sword School had controlled the entire situation. Even Sister Dingye took a hit and left the scene, and Priest Tianmen, Yue Buchun, and other first-class masters all kept their silence. This was the matter within the Five Mountains Sword Alliance. If any outsider pokes his nose into other people's business and jumps out to stir things up, he would be planting a dangerous seed for himself and might get killed because of that. The best thing to do was to be worldly wise and play safe. By then, among the Liu house relatives and apprentices, all that was left was Liu Qin. All that was left was Liu Qin, Liu Zhengfeng's youngest and favorite 15-year-old son. Ask this lad whether he wants to beg for mercy. If he refuses, then cut his nose off first, then his ears, and then cut out his eyeballs. Let him have the pain in small doses, Liu Bai directed at Xu Dangda. Sure, Xu Dangda answered. He turned to Liu Qin and asked, Are you going to beg for mercy? Liu Qin's face was as white as a sheet. He couldn't help his trembling. Good kid. See how tough your brother and sister were. It's only death, nothing to be scared of, Liu Changfeng said. But, Dad, Liu Qin said with a trembling voice, they want to cut off my nose and cut out my eyeballs. Liu Changfeng let out a laugh. By now, do you think they will let us live? Dad, can't you just agree to kill Uncle Chu? Liu Qin begged. Liu Changfeng was enraged. Garbage! You little bloody pig! What did you say? He yelled. Xu Dangda raised his long sword and moved the tip of the sword back and forth right in front of Liu Qin's nose. Hey lad, I am going to get down now if you don't kneel down and beg for mercy. 1, 2. Before the word 3 came out of Xu's mouth, Liu Qin had already knelt down on the floor. Trembling hard, he begged, Don't kill me. Good. We'll spare you, only after you condemn Liu Changfeng in front of all the people here today. Liu Bai laughed. Liu Qin stared at his father, his eyes filled with begging and pleading. Liu Changfeng had been able to maintain his calmness all the way through, even when his wife and children were slain right in front of his eyes. He kept a still face, but now he simply could not hold his anger. You bloody little pig! Aren't you ashamed of yourself right in front of your mother's dead body? He yelled loudly. Seeing his mother, brother, and sister's bodies lying in the blood pool, also seeing Xu Dangda's longsword moving back and forth right in front of his eyes, Liu Qin was scared out of his wits. Please, I beg of you, to spare my life and spare my dad's life, he said to Liu Bai. Your dad collaborated with the villains in the demon cult. Do you think it's right or wrong? Liu Bai pressed. It's wrong, Liu Qin murmured. Should this kind of people be executed? Liu Bai asked. Liu Qin lowered his head and dared not to answer. The lad doesn't want to talk. Kill him, Liu Bai ordered. Yes, Xu Dangda answered. Knowing that Liu Bai really meant to just scare the kid, he raised his sword high and pretended to be chopping down. Yes, they should, Liu Qin muttered immediately. Very good. Starting from now on, you are not part of the Hangshang Sword School. Neither are you Liu Changfeng's son anymore. I spare your life, Liu Bai declared. Liu Qin just remained in his kneeling position, not able to stand up with his scared to weak legs. Seeing that, people in the hall could not help but feel ashamed for him. Some turned their heads away, not able to bear themselves to such an embarrassing scene. Liu Changfeng let out a long sigh. Liu, you won. Waving his right hand, he threw the command flag toward Liu Bai. Meanwhile, he raised his left leg and kicked Fei Bin away. I'll finish it off on my own. No need for more killing now, he said loud and clear, turning the sword in his left hand and slashed it toward his own throat. Right at the instant, a shadow in black robe glided down from underneath the eaves. The shadow moved as swift as a breeze and quickly grabbed onto Liu Zhangfeng's left wrist. A wise man can wait 10 years for his revenge. Let's go! The shadow yelled out loud. His right hand waved in a circular motion toward his back, and then dragged Liu Changfeng toward the outside hurriedly. Big Brother Chu, you! Liu Changfeng blurred out in shock. Hearing the words Big Brother Chu, everyone instantly realized that the man in black robe was none other than the demon cult elder Chu Yang. All felt a shiver inside. No time for discussion, Chu Yang shouted, running even faster. But only after running 3 steps, Ding Mian and Lu Bai's 4 palms had arrived toward the backs of the two. Run! Hurry! Chu Yang yelled to Liu Changfeng, pushing hard on Liu Changfeng's back with his palm while gathering his own inner energy around his back. He took the solid strikes of the combination of Ding Mian and Lu Bai, the 2 first-class elite masters, squarely on his back. Bang! Chu Yang's body was knocked flying in the air toward the gate. Still in the air, Chu Yang spat out a spray of blood toward the back while waving his hands continuously. A cluster of black needles rained toward everybody behind him. Those are the black blood sacred needles. Move away, fast, Ding Mian shouted while dodging to the side, hurriedly. Seeing the cluster of black needles flying toward them, and knowing the great fame of the black blood sacred needles of the demon cult, people in the hall were all astounded. The crowd became a mass. In chaos, voices from dozens of people echoed in the hall. Ouch! Wow! Since there was quite a crowd in the hall, and the black blood sacred needles were in great amounts and great speed, the poisonous needles hit many. In the hubbub, Chu Yang and Liu Changfeng had escaped. Woo! That was a good ending, guys. Long chapter, but the ending was worth it. What do you think? This man has dishonored himself in front of his mother. Off with his nose. I don't think they cut the kid's nose. So I think the kid survived, that 15-year-old kid. Oh yeah, we need bells for the fallen, guys. Nope, those are slaps. Those are not bells. What episode is this? What do you mean? Godwin Mertz. First live stream. Yay. Well, we're about to end, so I don't know. Oh, guys, that poor kid. I don't know. How would you react if you were that kid? That poor kid, right? He was so scared that he had to just betray his father at the end there. Yeah, we got bells. I did bells. All right. You know what I need? I got my fireball this week. Who died? Yeah, the wife, one of his sons and his daughter died. And also a bunch of his apprentices, they also died. So basically the Liu Changfeng house they're gone. They've been wiped out. Except for Liu Changfeng. Alright. Let's do some ASMR. Hi guys. Cheers. Wait, not finished yet. Yeah, people feeling bad for the kid. I know. I don't know what I would do if I were the kid. Alright, guys. Ooh, my voice is all shot. That is not sake. That would be a fireball. No boba tea tonight. I didn't have a chance to make it. Do you guys think I should make it every time? Oh, next time, do you want me to eat some Japanese?